we're starting on a project for the new house. As you can see, I am sitting on these stunning French provincial caneback chairs, and we're gonna give them a little update. I have 8 chairs in total, and I don't know that all 8 of these are going to fit in my new house, but we are going to do the same thing to all of them. So 2 of them have the arms on them, as you can see back here, and then the other 6 are armless. So those would be the 2 head chairs, and then the rest do not have arms on them. And then you can also see some of them, the cane is kind of ripping. The seat cushions have some stains on them. So we're just gonna give these some new life. One of the chairs is even missing the cane entirely. So the girl that I got these from Facebook Marketplace for a great price. The girl I got them from, she has 3 little boys, and you know, they are a little rougher on chairs than we are as adults. So she wanted to get them out of the house to just give them to somebody who would be able to take care of them and love them the way that she did. She did end up giving me this whole roll of new cane, so that we can fix the backs of the ones that are broken. So super excited that she gave us this, and let's get started. I'm trying the Easy Off oven cleaner method on these chairs, and I've tried this once before on a small home decor piece, and it worked out pretty well. I also came across this tutorial on Pinterest of similar style chairs where they used the Easy Off oven cleaner, and I love how these ones looked. But before I can even get to this step, I need to remove the seat cushions. This was the original seat cushion for these chairs, and they were so well made. The seat was not screwed onto the chair underneath, so I had to completely cut into it with a utility knife to start removing all of the materials. Every layer of this thing was stapled down, and I had to remove most of those staples by hand. The cushion of these chairs was made using these wire springs instead of padding. I don't think I've ever seen dining chairs made like this before, and at first I had left them on. I was gonna try to leave them, but that didn't end up working out. Like I said, there was a ton of staples on each chair that I needed to remove. So here I'm using a small chisel, but I had also used a small flathead screwdriver on some of the chairs, and both options work really well if you ever need to remove hundreds of staples like this. But it took me about 30 minutes per chair just to remove the dang staples. Once I finally had all of the staples removed, I sprayed down the chair with the Easy Off oven cleaner. Now, all of the tutorials I've watched where they use the Easy Off, everyone tells you to let it sit for a little bit. So I would spray a chair, remove my cushion and staples from the next chair while the Easy Off did its job, and then I would go back and clean it off. I'm using a bucket of warm soapy water and a stiff brush to start removing that oven cleaner. You want to make sure that you rinse that brush off pretty frequently in the soapy water because that stain builds up on it pretty quickly. On this first chair, I put a pretty generous amount of the oven cleaner on, and I'm not gonna lie, it is not the easiest thing to remove. This is what no one tells you in all of the videos that I've watched. But this entire process was so tedious and required a ton of elbow grease. This is one of the main reasons that I hardly ever do furniture pieces. I actually ended up throwing my back out in the middle of restoring these chairs because I was hunched over for days straight. I was reminded that I am clearly not in my 20s anymore, and I ended up having to take several weeks off from doing pretty much any work at all. So here's how the chair's looking after scrubbing it. It is definitely much lighter. I haven't rinsed all of the soap and the Easy Off oven cleaner off just yet. You can see it's definitely getting lighter. I hope it's picking up on camera. It's super sunny, so I can't tell in the viewfinder. But I can tell there's definitely some areas, like this side is darker than the top and this side, so it's probably going to need another coat. But at this point, I'm just going to rinse it all off and let it dry, and then we'll see how it's looking after that. Another thing I want to point out is it's pretty easy to tell where you still have that oven cleaner on. Like you can see it like caking up on the surface here compared to like on this area where it looks perfectly smooth like wood, and even like down in here in some spots where I got it all off. This stuff, I will tell you, it is really difficult to get completely off. So I'm gonna go in one more time with the soap and water and rinse it again. Hi, Lulu. So the chair turned out looking pretty beautiful. I'm actually a little bit surprised, but it is rough. You can see like all along here, the wood is just very, very rough. It is not smooth, and most of it looks this way. It's pretty rough looking. So I am gonna take some sandpaper to it, take my sander to it. I know that's kind of not really the goal when you're doing this, but I do want it to look a little bit smoother. On the second chair, I didn't put nearly as much oven cleaner on. It was definitely easier to scrub it all off this way, but it also didn't remove nearly as much of the finish as that thicker coat and scrubbing it twice did. Using less oven cleaner also didn't chew up the wood quite as much, but it still does look rough in spots. All right, so here's a look at the variation in the wood tones. The one with the cushion on it, that is original. Nothing has been done to that one. The one on the far right is the first one I did, where I put a really heavy coat of the Easy Off on, and it took forever to get that off, which is why it looks so much more bleached. And then the one in the middle has a much lighter coat on, and it was a lot easier to get that off, and this is more of the color and the look and the tone that I'm going for. So that's what I'm going to do to the rest of the chairs. The problem is I don't know how I'm going to get the new caning to look aged and match that, so we'll have to figure that out at some point. I removed my cushions, sprayed the chairs, and scrubbed the rest of them with the Easy Off, but the more chairs that I got done, the more that I was getting frustrated, and I wasn't loving how they were turning out. The color was so inconsistent, and no matter how gentle I tried to be, the combination of oven cleaner and the water was just too hard on the wood surface. I even tried spraying the chairs and scrubbing it right away without letting that oven cleaner sit, and on camera the chairs look fine, but in person they were looking so rough and patchy. I loved the tone of the wood, but not how uneven it was, with some of those areas having more of the finish left on them than others. After I tried stripping all of the chairs, I did ask my husband what type of wood he thought these were made out of, and we think that these chairs are pine. Now that makes a lot more sense to me why the wood was getting so chewed up from the chemicals and the water, because pine is a soft wood.
Nobody told me to settle down. crazy for saying I should slow down, but maybe I'm escaping the love we found. There's something about you.
So after thinking about it for a while, I decided to just sand them down. I was gonna need to do this regardless to smooth out those areas that were rough on the wood. Now, I don't have a fancy sander that will bend to the contours of this chair, so it took quite a while yet again to get all of these areas sanded down. I feel like I should have just sanded these from the beginning, but I really loved the look that I saw of people using this oven cleaner method. It is just clearly not for me. Here's where we are for now with the sanded down chair, which looks similar to the chair I used oven cleaner on twice, that light coat of oven cleaner chair, which I still love the tone of, and then the original. Now I need to figure out how I'm gonna get the sanded chairs to look like that color that I want them to be. I didn't want to use stain, but I still wanted to see that wood grain, so I decided to try a paint wash effect. This is super simple. I picked up 3 paints from Home Depot in some neutral brown colors, and all you do is mix the paint with water. Then brush the mixture onto your wood piece. I tested all 3 colors on the bottom of my chair to make a decision, and I like that middle color, which is Toffee Crunch by Behr. Now, thinking back, I don't know why I went with this color. It looked the most like the Behr natural wood, and that wasn't what I wanted, but I wanted a much warmer, natural tone, and none of the paints that I had picked out fit that vibe. You may have noticed all of the moving boxes in the background of this video. This was not supposed to be my next video, but the closing of my new house got delayed and I didn't want to go too long without uploading a new video for you guys. I knew I wasn't going to get these chairs done before we moved, or to make it into this video, so I'm turning this project into a multi-part series. I'm gonna end episode 1 here, which made the most sense to me because I really need to rethink the color of these chairs and maybe do some testing. If all goes well, we should hopefully be closing on the new house at the time this video is going live, so hopefully I can get in there to see what's going to look best with our new floors. But in full transparency, the next video that you see is not going to be episode 2 of this chair restoration. I would love to take you guys on a tour of my new home and show you all of the plans that I have to add character and my own personal touch to each space. Fingers crossed we'll be there real soon.